Millions of people spend years aggressively consuming information. They read the books, buy the courses, and watch endless hours of tutorials. Yet, despite this massive intake, the vast majority remain average in their actual abilities. This gap exists because of a widespread, flawed assumption that the act of accumulating facts and data is the same thing as learning. But having access to information does not grant you skill. Information is inert. It is simply raw, unrefined potential, waiting to be processed into understanding and, eventually, into execution. A functional mechanism is required to convert passive input into active execution. Consuming content without one produces a temporary dopamine hit, but leaves no lasting trace on your capabilities. When people try to bridge the gap between knowing and doing, they usually rely on inspiration. The typical motivated learner crams intensely for a few days, hits a wall, and then abandons the subject for weeks. This graph shows exactly what relying on that feeling looks like. Those sharp, dramatic spikes in effort always crash back down to zero. The result of this cycle is constant restarting, massive memory decay, and a flat line in actual progress. Contrast those highly erratic bursts of energy with the steady, physical momentum that is generated by sustained effort. Motivation provides a brief spark, but it fails as an operational fuel. It cannot sustain the long-term, continuous effort required to build competence. This brings us to a distinct dividing line. Amateurs obsess over what they should learn next. Experts obsess over how they learn. Instead of just collecting data, they build a learning system. This is a deliberate, repeatable engineering process designed to systematically extract value from information. By making this structural shift, learning is no longer treated as a random, mood-dependent event. It becomes a predictable daily operation. Elite mastery is rarely a symptom of natural intelligence. It is the output of a superior processing mechanism. Every effective system operates as a continuous engine. Raw materials enter the input stage. In processing, reflection condenses these raw shapes into structured blocks. During application, executing real projects pushes these blocks outward, creating friction that loops back as data. That final stage is feedback. You use your inevitable mistakes and real-world results to calibrate and optimize the next cycle of the loop. Pushing knowledge continuously through this specific four-stage loop is the exact mechanical process that guarantees improvement over time. However, the most perfectly designed system is entirely useless without the energy to run it. Discipline acts as the starter motor. It is the psychological bridge that forces you to sit down and execute the process, even on days when you feel zero inspiration. But the system's true compounding fuel is consistency. This chart demonstrates the math behind merely 1 hour of daily effort over 5 years. Notice how those steady, incremental additions slowly curve upward. That single daily hour adds up to a volume of over 1,800 hours. That is vast enough to outperform almost anyone in a given field. Mastery is a game of relentless mathematical repetition. Consistency beats sporadic displays of talent. We can unite all of these concepts into a single defining formula. Learning system multiplied by discipline multiplied by consistency equals mastery. Operating a learning system without discipline removes your ability to actually turn the engine on, degrading the process into a passive hobby. Conversely, exerting discipline without a structured system means you are working hard but running in the dark. It results in inefficient effort that leads nowhere. And if you have both a system and discipline, but you lack consistency, you leave behind only abandoned projects and unfinished potential. Because these elements function as multipliers, allowing any single variable to drop to zero neutralizes the entire equation. The actionable steps to build this machine are clear. Select a specific domain, lock in daily time blocks, process the data actively, then execute it immediately, and track your progress over years. The people who appear effortlessly gifted in their craft are usually just the individuals who built the strongest processing systems and stayed on the timeline long enough. Systematic learning turns raw knowledge into reliable skill. That skill deepens into rare expertise, which creates the conditions for professional opportunity. Realizing long-term success depends on engineering a superior system to learn better, far more than the simple accumulation of more information.